Back to Kelish Malachta Le'Isser that we're learning the last few days. Okay, so we're discussing clothes dryers, we're discussing car doors, trunks, the trunk of a car and so on. Okay, now the same thing, electric clocks, electric fans, electric blankets. Okay, so what happens if you have an alarm clock next to your bed? Electric plugged in alarm clock, and you want to see the time. Now, they're generally speaking, Poskim write that any electrical appliance is keli shemalachta le'isser. You know, it's something which is primarily for forbidden usage. You can only move it if you need the place or you want to do something permissible with it. So let's say you have a clock next to your bed and you want to see what time it is. So halachically you can turn the clock to see what time it is, or turn it away, whatever. The same thing if you have a fan in a room and the fan is blowing on you and you don't want it to blow on you, so you can move the fan. If the fan is not blowing on you and you want it to blow on you, again, that's all tzedach gufay. That's also what for your personal need, and that would be a lot. What?
Why are we scared that you're going to touch a button?
Turn to what?
Why are we scared that you're going to touch a button?
That's a very good point. Some poskim, interestingly, write, the people don't do this, but some poskim write now that you should tape the plug into the wall, that when you move it, it doesn't pull out the plug from the wall. And also they write that if it has knobs on it, high, low, medium, or whatever, you should tape that also. Some people say you should. Most people are lenient that you don't, because generally speaking, we don't just change, on a crock pot, we're afraid you're going to make it higher or lower, to cook it better or less. But generally speaking, people don't do that on clocks and things like that. Okay, or let's say you have a fan. What?
Cell phones. Did you get there?
Cell phones are a bigger problem. Cell phones are keli shemalachta le'isser plus. No. What? Because we mentioned yesterday that something, like, and remember we learned in a very expensive instrument, a violin, okay, is a keli shemalachta le'isser, right? It's the primary usage for music you're not allowed to. But nobody is going to use a violin for nothing but for music, okay? You're not going to crack open a nut with it. You're not going to use it as a bookmark, okay? So now the question is with cell phones. So now the question by cell phone, and many poskim write, this is a personal thing. Cell phone is definitely keli shemalachta le'isser. But the question is it also called Muktza machzis certain kiss? Because if you have an expensive cell phone, you're not going to use it to open a knot. What else are you going to use it? What else are you going to use the cell phone but for the forbidden things, to take pictures and to record things, or to talk or whatever it is? So generally speaking, if you will not use your cell phone for anything else but what a cell phone is designated for, paperweight. A person would use a cell phone for a paperweight, then it wouldn't be then it wouldn't be Muktza machzis and kiss.
If it's off, because if it's on, it'll turn off.
There's another issue with a cell phone. If a cell phone is on, there's no way you can touch a cell phone, because number one, as soon as you touch it, things go on and off. And secondly, there's a very big fear. If you have a cell phone in your hand, you're going to forget it's Shabbos, you're going to start doing things with it, which would definitely be forbidden. So practically speaking, now even if a cell phone is off, it's turned off that you can't do anything with it, again, if you would use it for a paperweight and other things like that, then it wouldn't be totally Muktza. Otherwise it would, yeah.
You have to designate it for that purpose before Shabbat?
No.
Is it based on
The only time you have to designate something before Shabbat is something which is completely Muktza. For instance, a rock is completely Muktza. Okay? Now, therefore you can't move it for anything whatsoever. But what happens if I want to use this rock as a door stopper? To keep a door open. Then halachically I would have to designate it before Shabbos, not only for that particular Shabbos, but on a regular basis. Because then I'm basically, to use incorrect English, I'm unmuktzaing it. Because I'm now using it for something of permissible use. Like we said, sand essentially is completely muktza. But if you have a sand in a sandbox that you designated for kids to play with, and again, you can't make it wet and you can't build a sandcastle, whatever. So then you're making it unmuktza. The Gemara talks about this. The Gemara talks about this because years ago they didn't have comfortable chairs like we have today. They used to sit on rocks, right? Even then, the Rebbe sat on a rock and all the students sat on the floor. That was the way it was in the time of the Gemara. And the Gemara talks about designating those rocks, for somebody to give a class on Shabbos to designate. What?
You can also use a rock for people. Why is
You can use a what?
You can also use a rock for people. Why is
No, because that's totally muktzah. Something which is totally muktzah, you came in the middle. We're learning muktzah for a while already. There are things that are totally muktzah that you can't move for any reason. Something that's called kedish malachta l'isser could be moved for certain reasons. If you need the place or you want to do something, a permissible usage with it. Over there, you don't have to designate it. If you have a permissible use, then you could use it. But a rock which is completely, essentially muktzah, because that's the halacha muktzah. Because this is a keli and this isn't a keli. If it's not a utensil, if it's not something that Chazal deemed as something usable, a rock, sand, money, by the way, those are things which are completely muktzah. You can't move it for any reason whatsoever.
You can hide something underneath the rock. So you can use, there's
It is not called, that's what din shchonach. Why the Chacham have issues? Why this, this not? But the bottom line is, in Shulchan Aruch and the Gemara really says, a stone is completely muktzah, you can't move it for any reason. So now the question is, by the way, just to get a little political, so how are these so-called religious people, Meir Sharim, how are they allowed to throw stones at the people driving on Shabbos?
Jerusalem stones not.
Huh?
Jerusalem stones are not.
Jerusalem. So one answer, Jerusalem stones are not muktzah. Or they hold it's a mitzvah. No, but anyway, because by the way, even if they designate them before Shabbos, the din is you have to designating them in Shulchan Aruch is a clear din. You can't designate a rock only for one-time use and then make it non-muktzah. Okay? It has to be on a regular basis. But that let them worry about that. That don't deal with it. Okay, another very practical example of Kedish Malachta L'Isser. You have your coffee urn, or your percolator with hot water in it. Okay, so while it's on with water in it, we learned it's not muktzah because it's bottled to the water. So water is not muktzah, so you can move it. If you move it, you need to get water out of it, or you need to tip it to get the water out of it, whatever it is. So then it's not muktzah. But if the percolator is empty, you have an empty percolator, and you forgot to put it on top, put it away before Shabbos. So again, if you need the place, you can move it. If you don't need the place, you're not allowed to move it. Or else, what else are you going to do with it? Okay, the same thing. Now, the same thing. Electronic extension cords are also muktzah. So what happens if you have an extension cord? Let's say going from here to there, and you want to go under it on Shabbos. So you're allowed to pick it up and then go under it because you need the place. So if you need the place, you're allowed to move it. Extension cord is again kedish malachta l'isser. So if you need the place or you need it for something permissible, you could. Now the same thing with the scissors. In fact, somebody just asked me the other day. What do they call them? These poultry shears. They have the scissors that cut chicken. Right? If you make a whole chicken, you know what I'm talking about? Very educated people here. So that is b'chal not muktzah. That's not muktzah at all because it's made to cut food. It's a utensil for food, like a fork and a knife. Just like a knife cuts food, it's not muktzah. So this is made for food. A regular scissors, just your kitchen scissors, That's Keli Shemalachta Le'isr. That's primarily is to cut on Shabbos. You just can't cut things on Shabbos. But again, if you need it, again, you need the place, or you want to, like we discussed once, you need to cut open a package. Okay, and there's letters. So if you want to cut the package without cutting the letters, if you take a scissors, you'll cut it straight, that you won't cut letters, so then it's called tzerech gufay. It's a permissible use, because you're allowed to open the package for food, and then you would be allowed to use the scissors to cut open a package.
Only for food, right?
Only for food. Or not necessarily, something that you must have for Shabbos. Now there's another interesting din with this, and that is tefillin. Now on Shabbos you're not allowed to wear tefillin. So now our tefillin Muktza on Shabbos or not? Yeah, but what is it? A tefillin keli shemalachta le'isr or not? Because you're not allowed to wear tefillin on Shabbos, right? So therefore, tefillin primary use on Shabbos is forbidden. So it's a keli shemalachta le'isr. So then, if you hold this keli shemalachta le'isr, then you would be allowed to move it if you need the place. Which means, let's say somebody by mistake left their tefillin on the dining room table. And now you come Friday night, it's already after Shabbos, the tefillin are on the table. Am I allowed to move them or not? So there's a machlekes, but generally speaking, you can consider them keli shemalachta le'isr, and therefore they could be moved if you need the place. Or there's another time you're allowed to move tefillin also. It says in halacha, what happens if you're walking in the street and you see a pair of tefillin that are becoming defiled in the street? People are stepping, whatever it is. So then on Shabbos, you're allowed to put on the tefillin and wear it into the house, because again, tefillin is a garment. Like we say, I wear tefillin. Tefillin is a garment. Now normally on Shabbos, you're not allowed to wear a garment. Tefillin. But because it's something that's getting defiled, so out of respect for the tefillin, the Chachamim permitted the concept of Muktza to permit it. Some people say it's completely Muktza, whatever. Huh? No blessing, no.
Would it mean not there to just carry it in either way? You're doing something.
No, I'm talking about if there's no Erev.
What halacha isur you do with tefillin? That
Huh?
because Muktza. What isur? There is no isur with tefillin.
Are you allowed to wear tefillin on Shabbos?
No, but you.
That means it's also.
You're a weekday.
No, but I'm saying now it's Shabbos. So Shabbos you're not allowed to wear tefillin.
But the looks has to be the same way that you put it, or it doesn't have to be?
No, you have to wear it properly.
Wear it properly.
Even if you want to wear a talis in the street, you ever see people always wear in a place where there's no Erev, right? So they want to bring their talis to shul, so they wear the talis, right? Because you're wearing a garment. But you have to wear it like you wear it. You can't put the talis over your shoulder like this and walk like that to shul, because that's not the normal way of wearing a talis. You have to wear it the normal way of wearing it. So if you're wearing tefillin being defiled in the street or wherever, you would be allowed to put them on and walk in quite one pair at a time, whatever. No, what?
If you found a garment, like a shirt in the street, which is Rabbi Shabbos, and there's no error, are you allowed to put that shirt on and walk to your home?
A shirt is a garment. You're allowed to wear a
That's what
shirt.
I'm saying. Even if you pick it up, even if you find it in Rosh Hashanah,
You're allowed to wear 10 shirts and 10 coats and 15 pairs of tzitzis.
even though you find it in Rosh Hashanah.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to close your jacket afterwards, but that's a separate issue. Why not? You're wearing, it's a garment. It's not mukseh at all. It's a garment. A garment you could wear. The question is, tefillin, you're not, the same thing we'll get to in a minute. Shofar is a kedesh malachta le'isr. Right? So by the way, it's interesting. On a regular Shabbat, like this Shabbos, okay, a shofar is a kedesh malachta le'isr. Because you're not allowed to blow, it's to make music, right? The sounds. So it's a kedesh malachta le'isr. So you can only move it, let's say, gufi mekayim, but you're allowed to move it, let's say, gufi mekayim. Shabbos, Rosh Hashanah, in the Shulchan Aruch, it's stricter. You can't move it for any reason. Because you're not allowed to blow shofar that, on Shabbos. You want to ask something? Yeah, what?
That's what is the same as completely Muktza?
Chsaron kiss is completely Muktza. It's not the only one. Moachmas Gufay, there's a lot of...
If you have like a phone outside, you can't do anything about it.
a phone?
Like, let's say someone left his phone outside, it's raining.
If it's Muktza, Chsaron kiss, you cannot bring it in.
Is it considered?
Again, we said it depends how, what else you use the phone for. Huh?
Can you kick it?
You can kick it, but then you might be carrying. If there's no area, then you'll be carrying. Yeah, you can kick it.
Does anything based on the individual or like
Matzim Chsaron kiss poskim right, generally speaking, it could be judged by the individual. But again, we'll see the chapter about Muktza Chsaron kiss, many more details about that whole din. Okay, musical instruments we discussed, pens we learned this case, but I'll give you an example. They're sometimes what do they call them, tradesmen's pens, like artist pens. Artistic, people that do artistic work with those pens. They might have a din, a Muktza Chsaron kiss, because they're very expensive. They're only made to write or to draw, and you're not allowed to write or draw on Shabbos, and you're not going to use it for anything else because it's too expensive. So that would be completely Muktza. But a regular pen or pencil is Kedesh Malachta, so you can use it if you want to put it in the book for a bookmark or whatever. People don't hesitate to do that. Now, for instance, staplers. A stapler is, you're not allowed to staple things on Shabbos because you're sewing. It's like sewing. But, let's say, paper clips are not at all Muktza on Shabbos. Because you're allowed to put paper clips on Shabbos. Because you're not doing anything, you're not sewing, you're not doing anything, just holding papers together. So if your paper clips are b'chlal, not Muktza. But let's say a stapler is a Kedesh Malachta list. What?
Do you put post-its when you're reading something?
Post-its you could, according to most opinions, because it's not really sticking. It's not really gluing. It's made to pull on and off. It's not, it's not made to last.
How about a needle?
Huh?
How about paper clips? What's about a needle?
A needle is Kedesh Malachta list. We discussed that already. If you want to take out a splinter with a needle, and you're not going to for sure make it bleed, so then you could take a needle, it's Kedesh Malachta list, and you're doing Tzerech Gufay, you're doing something permissible with it, you'll be allowed to do it.
You take a safety pin to close up here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Machashin is a message,